The Federal Competition and Consumers Protection Commission, FCCpc, in this interaction will be exploring the roles of the Commission in promoting fair business practices and ensuring that businesses operate fairly and competitively, as well as its task of protection of consumers, ensuring that they have access to safe products. This and more just in a moment.
I'm glad to let you know that FCCpc is doing a lot, especially since this year, to ensure that the exploitative pricing of goods and services in Nigeria is curtailed. I want to let you know that around May, we had what we call, we engaged with the market, actually directly. We did some survey right inside the market, and we found out that certain variables have cost or is causing the constant increase of goods and services. Yes, we know that petrol is one of them, the cost of transportation, but even in that regard, I will always tell people that part of our responsibility in FCCpc is to advise the federal government. In fact, it's one of our core mandates to advise the federal government on economic regulations or economic decisions. So what we try to do is to look at what the market is like, analyze it, give our suggestions or our reports to the federal government so that with them they can make certain economic decisions. And part of the economic decision we have been able to make to reduce the cost of goods and service, which we advise the federal government, is one, on the issue of transportation. That's why the federal government come up with the CNG, and the federal government is doing a lot to reduce the costs of transportation through the CNG. Then another one is the tax holiday, or either removal of tax from certain food, especially those essential foods like rice, like maize, and some of those things that are used to produce major foods that people always eat. And we also advise the federal government on other issues, which I'm sure that will come on very soon. But what we have seen is that at a time, we still felt that the ordinary Nigerian is not feeling the effect of whatever the federal government is doing. So 2 months ago, or thereabout, my chief executive, our executive vice chairman, Barrister Tunji Bello, gave a marching order to businessmen and traders to reduce price. I'm sure that you had that at the time. And he gave a 1-month ultimatum that will start implementing certain regulations to ensure that it is brought down. But there was this outcry by businessmen, especially manufacturers and certain level of businessmen. They felt that we can't just wield that big stick without clearly engaging. So after the expiration of the 1 month, and then with pressure from the businessmen themselves, we felt, okay, let's engage them. Let's have possibly town hall meetings, what we call stakeholders engagement, to get from every sector what they think we should do, what they think the federal government should do. So my EVC came up with this stakeholders engagement on food pricing or exploitative food pricing. That has taken place in Abuja for this North Central. We have also done that of Lagos for Southwest. Then we've also done that of Kano for Northeast. So that of South was brought to you. We're engaging with them to break down these barriers. We're engaging with the market leaders themselves, the sellers themselves, the corporate organizations to break down these barriers. Where we go through the entire nation, after the engagement, we'll begin to apply the law for those that because this time you won't say that you've not heard or you didn't. Part of what we're also doing at sensitization is also engagement, informing the public. This is what it is. But I also want to say, I always say that all of us are consumers. Somebody was even saying that even the baby in the stomach is a technical consumer. Because there's something that the mother will eat. It will harm the baby. So the baby even is a consumer. So I'm trying to say that all of us are. But we must rise up to the occasion of being ready to be informed enough so that if you feel or if you notice that your right has been infringed upon, then you know where to go, you know how to make your reports so that the engagement will be complete. Until we go through all the 36 states of the Federation. What we want to do is at least to have one engagement in each zone. After that, we start implementation. But while we wait for maybe wielding the big stick of prosecution, we are going to go in. We have started already. There is a form that will be going to the market constantly. That form will be a sort of a feedback. So, and it will go to all the local governments because we are engaging what do you call them now? The NYSC staff or people at every local government. So we are going to do that, engage them. They will report, they will just give this form to the people in the market. So these people will fill. From there, we're able to get what the fillers from the market. It will be real time because each form that is filled is just put in the system and the system is centralized at Abuja. So we can appropriately say this is happening in Port Harcourt or this happened in Port Harcourt yesterday or even today. So if there is such constant report, we can be able to say this is what the problem is, this is not what the problem is. One. Secondly, after that meeting yesterday, I had a series of meetings with both the government and security agencies up until 9 p.m. yesterday. What we are trying to do is to see if we will form a little, let me say, ad hoc, maybe ad hoc, because they are also part of what is causing this pricing that has its foundation to security agencies and even the government. We want to see if we can form a committee to checkmate that. But even prior to that, because we had seen it in our previous survey, we've already given an advice to the federal government on issue of multiple taxation. You were there yesterday when my executive vice chairman was making reference to a bill that sisters in uniform drive the price so high. The cost of tomato in the north is not yet up to 5,000, even as we speak. But here is sold for almost 30. It is not transportation. Transportation may not be up to 7,000 per tomato basket, right? So the rest of the what made the cost, where is it coming from? What they spent on the road. Some of those things, there is almost like a tax. It's now tax-free. though many of them is not yet in, but if they come in and the price is lower, if we don't checkmate the price of the middlemen and the unions, it may not get to the consumer. So that's why we're also moving ahead before these things start coming in, to break down what would have been the barrier. So I believe strongly that there's going to be the implementation, because we're taking it from different fronts. If these fronts are combined and effective and efficient, I assure you that the consumer for whom we are doing all this work will benefit. Always shared our contacts. We have at the south here. Our office, yes, is located in Port Harcourt, but our email address is out there in the public space. I will also read it out here. Our email address is such that if you send any protest, complaint, or information, within 24 hours, we're on it. In fact, we reply you. If it's a working day, we reply you within 4 hours of your sending it, unless it's a weekend. But we would have started working on it. But by the Monday, we will also let you know that we are on it. Are you getting my point? Then there is also the national toll-free line. You can also send to Abuja. Immediately send to Abuja is also on real time. If Abuja is seeing it, I'm seeing it. If they notice within an hour that I've not done anything about it, they will now send it to me if it's in my zone. So there is that synergy, and there is availability of our contact, both by phone and by email. Our email address is simple: south@fccpc.gov.ng. All lowercase word. That is small letter words. South together, south@fccpc.gov.ng. That is the easiest way to reach us, and we don't waste time with it.
That's for the South.
Yes, that's for the South. Okay, for our national office is you can reach us at contact@fccpc.gov.ng. We're also at www.fccpc.gov.ng. We have a toll-free national line that is 0805 600 2020, 0805 600 2020, or 0805 600 3030. That is a toll-free line. But at our own South office, our phone number is 081 471 70732. 081 471 70732. That's for our South phone number, and I can assure you that as soon as you send anything, either to the head office, either to our contact office, or our website, www.fccpc.gov.ng, it gets there. Somebody is working on it. If I've not seen it, they will relate it to me immediately. So, and I want to also assure Akwa Ibomites and South people that we'll be on top of. We'll do our best. We're human beings anyway. I'm not saying that we'll be on it every moment. We also have to rest. But then we'll do our utmost best to protect our people. Then we're also pleading with the government of the state, possibly, to set up a state committee. We'll support them what we can, information and maybe the technicality, but they have to be responsible, but our law says that we should open state offices, but this thing is gradual.